Why want to become bigger? What are the opportunities to lean in as a Rezolve plus commerce.com business?
Well, so I think first of all, you've got to frame it within the context of our growth. So we're seeing fantastic growth in our business, extraordinary momentum. We went from nothing to 232 million of contracted annual revenue in 1 year. We did 60 million in the first quarter in revenue versus the whole year last year, 46 million. So we're growing at an incredible rate. And in this space, when you have the best product in the vertical that we're operating in, which is commerce and retail, it's very important, having been building tech businesses over many decades, although you couldn't possibly tell my youthful demeanor.
Not going to age you.
That the most important thing is a kind of land grab, right? Yeah. We have to move quickly to consolidate our position as a leader. Now, we're doing that anyway organically, but if we were to acquire commerce.com, which is a stock that's really, a business that's really kind of stuck and needs us to unlock the value, we immediately give ourselves a greater presence. And we will continue to do deals like that when they're available at good value to increase our market position.
So what would be unlocked with a commerce.com is like the companies they already work with, the client base that they have, and you unlock it with this future of agentic AI. Look, let's just talk about the agentic commerce offering, because you're even a little bit in the world of crypto, and we've just had Jeremy Allaire of Circle on, and he thinks his business and stable coins are the future of agentic commerce.
He's right.
How are you the rails rather than a Circle, for example?
So Circle is a coin, is a token. But you need that token to be sitting on some sort of infrastructure to allow it to be used in everyday commerce, right? So, for example, if you went to Starbucks today, you're not going to use stablecoins to buy your coffee. We're going to facilitate that change with Rezolve Pay so that the retailers and the brands can take stablecoins in the same efficient way for a consumer as credit cards and other forms of payment. Because crypto, as we know it today, is a frustrating and clunky experience, and we're changing that with Rezolve Pay so that it's as good, if not better, an experience as what you're used to.
Often, sometimes, M&A is strategic, right? And so commerce.com is 60,000 merchants. Would you say, Dan, that's the strategic value of it? And if so, you'd boost your offer? You'd be willing to pay more of a premium to realize that strategic asset?
So, yes, a 60,000 merchant base that's frustrated with them because there's been lack of innovation. I mean, they're forecasting growth of 1.5% in the next 12 months. I mean, you can't even imagine such a sort of embarrassing growth rate for a business in commerce. 1.5% is just ridiculous, We're growing, conversely, 750% year on year, 750%. So you've got a company where it is at the moment which is not really innovating. It has a large footprint that's historically been gained over, over a decade of providing services, but it's kind of lost. And it needs us to come and inject value and enthusiasm and innovation into that customer base to energize them. Now, do we need them? No, we don't, because as I've just told you, we're growing 750% year on year, and we've got all this momentum and everything else. But if we were to buy them, we could unlock that value and grow that element of the business much faster than it is today. In answer to your question, yes, I think we're open to being more generous with a deal. But, the board rejected us, and then they put in a poison pill. And I really can't be bothered with a board that is so locked in its own protection that they can't see the benefit of a combination with us. We should have, any sensible board should be having a proper conversation with us to try to extract the best value for their shareholders and, fully embrace this opportunity.
What about the competition and risk to you? I've enjoyed reading about Rezolve and trying to understand the story, right? And it's whoever controls the agent layer wins in commerce. And a very reasonable question that the Bloomberg Tech audience would pose is, why doesn't an Amazon or an Alphabet or Google or even OpenAI just do what you do and come for you?
I mean, they've tried. Some of them have tried. So OpenAI did a deal with Walmart. It was very highly publicized about five and a half months ago. ago that was disbanded about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And the reason it was disbanded was that it started making these terrible mistakes, which is what we call hallucinations. Generative AI uses probabilistic algorithms, mathematical algorithms that guess words and the next word in a sentence to create a paragraph and to create an answer. And when you're guessing things, there is an element of error. And we knew this from the very outset because of my background in search and for decades and being involved in some of the major innovations in search technology in the 90s and the early noughties. So we knew that this would happen. So we spent the last 10 years preventing hallucinations. That's really our primary position. And of course, we did it with a very clear vision of providing that technology to represent digital platforms as the best salesman on the planet, interacting with customers. But you can't have the best salesman on the planet who's hallucinating, who's saying the wrong things, making mistakes. Then you end up with returns, the misled customers buying the wrong products, and so on. So we believe, and Microsoft and Google have endorsed that belief, that we have the only technology that in this vertical that is reliable for merchants. They don't have to worry in deploying our technology that their representative, generative AI representative, is going to be selling the wrong things, making mistakes, misleading customers, and worse, insulting people.